Alright guys, good news. I was able to get under it and dig it out. Okay. Now, how much damage did I do by doing that? Okay. Again, remember this coil, it's the base. It has to connect, or the connections between the base and the boot have to be on point. Although guys, I will say this, these boots on some of our 4-cylinder models are replaceable. So if you split them, you can simply go in with another boot. Okay, because the coil has its job and the boot has its job. But because I didn't really damage it, I just had to get I used 2 pair of pliers. I wanted to film that for you, but I couldn't hold the camera and do it. So I managed to get under it like this with 1 set of pliers, pull up, and use another set of pliers to get under it deeper until I was able to dig it up and then pop. Okay, so yes, I think this should be fine. I didn't damage it enough to justify replacing. All right, and the risk in that is if they ever had their intake off and they see 5 pretty spark plug or ignition coils on here and 1 ugly OEM coil, they might try to blame the company that installed the coils when it's really not their fault. One of the coils came apart doing your normal typical tune-up, so it's really nobody to blame for that. I just hate calling customers back, asking them, telling them they have to purchase something that they so-called already purchased, but it got damaged in my possession, so I'm semi-held responsible. I don't know how they work, but I don't really care. Now, okay, I managed to get all 3 of these are off. All right, I just put my stuff in there to show y'all an example how you can avoid that. All right, I want to take a look at this plug, these plugs rather. Okay, they're not bad. I mean, it hadn't been that long ago, but for some reason she thinks she knew. When somebody say they think they need to tune up, they got problems. Okay, they have drivability problems. Now I did upsell a transmission update. I mean a controller update that's gonna address a whole bunch of improvements that will address a lot of improvements to the drivability of the car. That actually may be what determines if she think her car is repaired or not. So I say, guys, in most cases, the controller with the programs in it do more for a tune-up than actually replacing tune-up parts. Sure, these are wearable items, but I've already explained why updates become available on controllers in the first place. Okay, engineers came together and deemed such and such would make this car. I'll give you an example. If we let this car idle first thing in the morning, cold, at 800 RPM as opposed to 700, that would make the car heat up quicker and drivability would be improved. Okay, so they can upload that information, that software, to the servers. In the event or when it's time for us to check with our pod, we'll see that there's a flash update. We can essentially download that program, and it's like tuning. Download that program and install it into that controller. Now everything that they change is now in that controller. Okay, nothing is really etched in stone at birth. There's always room for improvement. This is an early model 3.6, so this car never been updated. So that's like 3-4 updates on this controller, and I'm almost certain that will help the drivability of the car. So that's, to me, that's more important than physical parts. If you don't see nothing wrong physically with your parts, secondary ignition parts, then yeah, you probably need to tune it. We'll call it tuning for now. All right, and I'm gonna clean all this out. Typically, I would look down when I have the intake off, I would look down in the only thing you're gonna see is the intake gas or intake valves. Sometimes I used to look down there and see excessive carbon buildup. That will let me know that they burning some poor gas or it's not combustion properly. I would typically spray combustion chamber cleaner in there to try to break up any carbon that I see on it. I don't see excessive carbon buildup on those intake valves. Now you're never gonna have excessive carbon buildup on the exhaust valve because of the heat in which the exhaust side generates. Okay, that stuff would burn off. It wouldn't last no time on the exhaust valves because of the heat. The exhaust valves are made of different material than the intake valves. Okay, guys, I got work to do. Y'all see all this? I got some work to do. So All right, guys. So I'm getting ready. I'm doing a thermostat now, guys. Because this it's a 3.6 Pentastar thermostat. Because that lower bolt is kind of tucked down under there, I always tend to just lift up on the engine. You can see I have the mount. The bolt's out of the mount, and the mount is up. And I have a jack stand under there to kind of jack up the engine so I can get to that little bolt. No big deal. Sometimes you can fight with it. Sometimes you don't have to. All right, in the middle of taking both bolts off, guys, look what happened. Look what I found. When the last time y'all saw this? Yes, an actual one that actually came apart. P0128. Okay, now this code used to be called engine running too cold, too long. Okay, you all know there's a certain time this engine has to reach operating temperature, and the thermostat plays a major role in that, accomplishing that feat. Okay, yes, it will stay closed until the coolant that's circulating reach a certain temperature, and that temperature is detected by the coolant temp sensor. Okay, so this coolant inside the head, this temp sensor is screwed into the cylinder head. The temperature of the coolant will report back to the PCM, and from there, you can go in. The engine can go in a closed loop and start running, trying to maintain stoichiometric ratio. Okay, but yes, I haven't seen this in a long time. I have seen this on a Pentastar in a minute. Now you all know the transmission or the thermostat is one unit. Okay, the housing comes with the thermostat. You can't get it separately. All right, so yes, look like it just broke, guys, right here, and the element came apart, and I done made it come apart even more. So now those little pieces got to be, they maybe just flow. I'm gonna take y'all on a dive. Y'all see if y'all can see something. I can't see, but I'm gonna have to feel around in there. I guess I'm gonna film this and then go back and look at the footage. Okay, but yes, this actually came apart. So just want to point out that this code was very much justified. Yes, justified. And guys, don't get it twisted. Okay, don't think for a second this cannot cause your car to run bad. Remember we talking about earlier how she may have some kind of drivability issue that she's not telling us, because it has new coils on it. It has new plugs in it. All right. Yes, this could disrupt the strategy. Okay, this can disrupt how the car runs. Disrupt how the car runs when it's cold or when it's hot. Okay, because remember, guys, the computer is trying to factor in if the engine is at operating temperature. A lot of things come into play when the engine reaches operating temperature. Okay, the computer may start doing other things once the engine reach operating temperature. And if that never happens, or it take a long time for that to happen, drivability may be affected. Okay, so don't for 1 second think, no big deal, it's just thermostat. My car still better run fine. No, it could actually affect the way your car run. All right, the way it drives, drivability. All right, so let me get this new one on, guys. I just wanted to bring that up. I'm not going to film. Y'all see how easy this is. I have countless videos on how to replace a thermostat. One thing of importance I want you to realize, this screw right here, this is the bleeder screw, guys. Please make sure you get all the air pockets out of the engine during refill. Now, I have a bleeder valve that I use. Okay, I use both. I do both. This is so easily accessible. It's just sitting right there. You unscrew it. Okay, a lot of people don't like to disturb that, because once you turn it, it may not seal back up properly. There's a little O-ring around there. It's just like the drain cock. A lot of people don't want to disturb that ever, because at my luck, it'll never seal again. All right, so I'm going to use my bleeder funnel and this screw to help bleed the system and remove all the air pockets. But like I said, I just wanted to bring it up to you guys. I have more work to do, guys. Stay tuned. Let's get it, man.